All righty, everybody, joining us now on Setting the Pace. It is Bennedict Mathurin entering his third year with the Indiana Pacers. Bennedict, how's it going, my man?
Very good. Very good, brother.
Good,
Thanks for
good,
having
good to hear that. Yes, we're glad to have you. And we heard today at Media Day about your injury update. You've been playing basketball now for a little bit over a month. Can you talk to me more about just how the injury happened, some of the hurdles you faced, trying to rehab and how you're feeling now?
me. Well, I'm gonna start by saying how I feel because I feel great. The rehab was really tough. It was really tough. It was long. Um, but I'm gonna be honest, I enjoyed every minute of it. It was a really humbling experience for me, not being able to play at the highest level. Um, but it was also great to see the game from a different lens. Just to see the game and being able to learn.
And on that topic, talk to me a little bit about what does that mentality have to be like, knowing that you can't be out there with your teammates, but you do have to be grinding in order to get through this rehab, to be ready on time, everything that goes into what people don't get to see on a daily basis.
It's a great question. Um, I mean, it definitely it takes a lot of dedication, to be honest. I know some guys or friends and people who got hurt, and it was kind of hard for them because they're alone for a long time. And the hardest part of doing rehab is to do it every day. Sometimes it's hard to come to lift in the morning. You're like, I wish I just want to, I just want to rest. I just want to make time and go by and being able to have the season back right away. But it takes a lot more than people would think and expect. But like I said, I enjoyed every second of it, and I wouldn't do it again if I had the chance, the opportunity to. But it was a great learning experience.
So when you got injured in that game against Dallas, you kind of played through it, and this is a pretty serious injury. So walk me through that game and when it happened, and maybe should you have asked to come out? Did playing through it longer or playing through it make it a longer rehab, or did it have any effect on the rehab process by playing in that game after you had actually injured it?
I don't think could have. It could have got worse, but I just never would have thought that. But I would say that I was fine that game. I had 14 at the half. I said, "There's no way I'm sitting down. I'm going for 30." But when I told my trainer that something was wrong with my shoulder, and I told him first, um, his eyes got big. It got really big because he was like, "You never told me about when you get hurt. I always have to come check up on you and see if you're all right. Because you never tell me those kind of things." But when I told him about the shoulder, his eyes got really big, and he was like, "Okay, we might have to get an MRI."
Not everybody's built for the grind of what it goes in to get back on the court, like what you just described, and that's why I feel like you're built different. I'm excited to see what the comeback's going to be like. But could you give us a glimpse into what that rehab was like on a daily basis?
Daily basis, I was doing a lot. I used to lift. I remember one time I tried to fit some jeans. My legs were too strong. I was doing light workouts and lifting my legs like crazy. But I mean, like I said, it's really an everyday thing. I wake up, I couldn't sleep on my right side. And that's the side I sleep on normally. So I couldn't sleep on this side, sleep on my left side, sleep on my back with a pillow under my arm. Um, Going to rehab, doing a BFR. That was the worst. That was the worst part of the whole day. But um, no, it definitely made me strong.
Well, you said at the beginning of this that you're perfectly fine now, so we're excited to hear that. This offseason, you did a lot of rehab, but what else did you do this offseason that maybe you'd like to share in terms of training or just fun things you did during the offseason?
Um, Work on my game. Worked on my game. I did everything I was doing good. And I kind of like perfected my craft to make it even better. Um, there were some areas where I needed to improve, and I did extra work. I used to come to workouts and if I'm not satisfied with the way I did things, my weaknesses, um, I was not stopping the workout, and I was training twice, 3 times a day, just to make sure that I was exhausted to the point where I was my conditioning needed to improve, but also to the fact where I knew that I can't go extremely, extremely hard because I'm also recovering from my shoulder injury.
And I know at times, you hear what the media says, or hear the critics, and a lot of people say, "Well, Indiana ran into teams that were missing so and so, or Julius Randle wasn't out there, or Dame wasn't out there, or Giannis." But what we say is Bennedict Mathurin wasn't out there. What are your goals when you come back to this season, joining this Pacers group? Like, what do you have in mind from a personal standpoint?
It's funny. It's funny you said that because I'm not really a Twitter guy or like Instagram guy, and I don't know what I don't know for what reason. I mean, I definitely had a little bit more time on my hands to go on Twitter here and there, but I mean, I've seen a lot of comments. I'm gonna be honest. I love those kind of things because me as a guy, I'm extremely competitive, and I always see a window of improving. And it's like, okay, if someone says that means I'm not doing it right. If more than one person says it, it probably means something, right? So I was like, okay. Some people said I couldn't do this. Some people was like, oh, we're better without Ben. So it's like, okay, I get the chance to go out there and play even harder and just to prove people wrong. And when I prove the people wrong, I'm not gonna go, yo, you remember what you said? I'll be like, you know what? That's me. That's me as a guy. I know what I'm capable of doing. So um I mean it's definitely been fun.
Yeah, I will say I saw one of your like tweets. It was one tweet that I had actually put out from Coach David Thorpe that had basically said some things about, the on-off numbers and things like that. And so I was just kind of curious, how do you use that to kind of like fuel yourself to get better? And today I thought it was great. You said this, and I thought it was a great comment from you. You said that it was kind of a humbling experience to see the Pacers have success on the bench without you. And I'm just kind of curious, handling criticism. You're so young. You're still trying to prove yourself in this league. Like, how do you put all that together?
Um I just keep the screenshots and I read them before going to sleep. It's like we got training camp tomorrow. I have 10 screenshots I have to read before going to training camp. Um, Going to training camp and be like, oh, I remember this guy said that. He said I couldn't play defense, so I'm gonna go out there and luck everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
those kind of things. But I stopped letting critics get to my head since the young age. That was one of my best gifts. And I try to turn the narrative about critics. I don't see it as critics. I just see it as a difference of opinion, right? So people are gonna see things about me, gonna say things about me, and there's only one way of doing things. It's just doing it the right way.
I agree with that. And, speaking on a more, positive, vibe of just the off season for this Pacers team. I mean, talk to me a little bit about what you like to see, because I don't think Indiana is going to skip a beat with the way that they've been able to retain this core of players. I mean, what have been your thoughts?
We definitely have a great chance of doing what we did and going back to the point where we want to go, which is achieve more. And the fact that we were able to have most of the team back, it's a great start. We have the chance of having Pascal on the team for the full year, and as the year went on, we were able to adjust to a lot of things, especially defensively, which was one of our biggest weakness. Um, so just to have the same guys back on the team and knowing what it takes to go out there, but knowing the fact that it's going to be harder to get there again, um, we have a good chance of doing things again.
You bring up Pascal, and I'm curious, how do you feel like that trade kind of changed the team overall, and what is your relationship like with Pascal?
The trade definitely changed a lot of things. We get the chance to have a guy who's been a champion, who's been an all-star, all-NBA on the team, knowing what it takes to get to the next level and knowing how great he is on the court on both sides of the ball. So, and we've seen what it was like because we played without him and we played with him. So, um, but my relationship with Pascal has been good. He speaks French, so every time we get the chance to just talk about anything, whether it's basketball off the court or soccer or anything, we just kind of talk it out.
Love what I've heard from the offseason. Just seems like, great vibes. Love the fact that the Pacers were able to, bring Siakam back after, the trade, be able to, get him on a new contract extension. But talk to me a little bit about, last year. It felt like we saw the defense improve month over month. And I think from where you started to where you finished, completely different story. But do we feel that this Pacers team can start next year as a much better defensive unit than where they were last year at the start of the season?
For sure. I mean, we have no choice, like going to the games this year is teams are more prepared to play against us. So, we can't outscore everybody every game, and especially the pace that we play. Scoring 150 points a game is not going to work. Sorry. So, knowing that, taking defense personal and having the willingness to just play as a team and play defense is definitely going to win us more games than scoring more points than the opponent.
I do want to rewind a little bit and go back to last year because it was a really fun season, a lot of high moments. And one of those high moments was the in-season tournament run, especially that game against Boston at home and kind of seeing the field house full of fans for the first time, feeling like a playoff atmosphere. The in-season tournament was something that was a little bit different that we had never seen before, and I think everybody was kind of like not sure what to think. But your experience with that Pacers run to the championship of the play-in, or I should say the in-season tournament, and then facing the Lakers in the championship, what was that experience like for you?
For me, it was a great experience. It was my first time doing it, like everybody else's first time. But as a team, it was a great thing for us to have, just to be able to be in an in-season tournament for the first time as a young team, and just going to the finals. I feel like it set the tone for us as a team for what we wanted to achieve. And it was a great starting point. We knew that we needed to take things seriously if we wanted to do more, and it was a great thing to have to build the momentum going to the second half of the season.
Speaking on some moments last year, in specific for you, what was a bigger moment? Was it hitting the game-winning free throws against the Boston Celtics to win, or was it stripping Giannis towards the end of the game, the in-season tournament, to be able to preserve that victory? What stands out to you most?
The still against Giannis for sure,
That
but
was a moment.
you know, I mean, it's not even the fact that it's Giannis. It's just the fact that I was like, man, I got the ball. Like this is exactly what we needed to win the game. Like free throws, like it's fun, right? To be honest, I was mad I didn't make the shot after he found me because it's not as cool. But the free throws is just decent. But the stop, it's kind of like a statement. He tried to go against me and then I stop you from winning the game. So I definitely take the strip.
I can't argue with that. Free throws, it doesn't feel as very dramatic when you make game-winning free throws, but it's still a win, right? But All-Star Weekend was in Indianapolis last year, and it was a lot of fun just to see the entire NBA in our city. But you won the MVP for the Rising Stars game, and you won the Skills Championship with Miles and Tyrese. What was All-Star Weekend like for you? And then would you like to talk at all about maybe some of the back and forth there with Jaden Ivey from your rookie class at the Rising Stars game?
Having All Star in Indy this year was amazing. It was really really good, and especially us having three guys participating in the All Star at home for us was amazing. It was great to see that the city of Indy was really pumped up, and I mean I seen people I would never thought I would see out in Indy, right? And it's crazy because the weather was perfect, and then as soon as All Star was over here, the same day it started snowing and everything. But it was good. It was good to have to win obviously the MVP of the Rising Stars game and winning the skills challenge.
That was awesome to see. I mean, it just felt like you guys were on full display representing the Pacers, the way everybody wants to see them represented. I think that was great. But also, what does it mean to see that Indiana get the credit they deserve and go from originally having just one nationally televised game last year to, a solid increase? I believe it's around 9 this year, which is you took the biggest jump in terms of nationally televised games out of any team.
Yeah, I just feel like it allows people to know that Indiana basketball is serious, and we won a lot of games last year. obviously trying to win way more this year. But I mean, if it was up for me, I would, have more national games, more national TV games, but it's still also a chip on our shoulder to be able to keep playing harder and trying to get more games on TV.
Yeah, Tyrese talked about having a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and the rest of the guys having a chip on their shoulder just because it feels like after the run of the Eastern Conference Finals, the people out there that are analysts and stuff are still not giving the Pacers credit and saying it was more of a fluke run. So do you carry that same weight like Tyrese, where this kind of feels like you guys were overlooked coming into this season? And how do you use that chip on your shoulder to prove everybody wrong and get back to the Eastern Conference Finals?
It's definitely a chip on my shoulder, but for me, it's just about I just know what it takes to do it again and just going out there and play my game. To be honest, I don't need people to. I don't need to tell people like, oh, you're gonna see what we're gonna do and everything. Like I just go out there and do my thing.
If there's a player or two that you could shed some light on maybe this offseason that you feel like is really kind of taking their game to the next level or that we should really be talking about more, who might that be on this Pacers roster?
Can you say it one more time, please?
Yeah, I was saying, is there like a player or two that you feel like maybe this offseason has just really been putting in that work and come next season, we're going to see it on full display that maybe they're not getting that credit or that shine that they do deserve, but we're all going to take notice come the season?
I would say Ben Shepherd and Jarris Walker.
Love it.
I think that the rookies last year they were putting in work, and Shep had a good role in the playoffs. He's a rookie and he started in the Eastern Conference Finals. Which is a big deal. So it was good to have this for him and seeing the work that he's put in. He's being more confident about his game and Jay Walker as well. I know Jay Walker's been working really hard and he's trying to get some minutes, games after game. So it's really exciting to see both of them improve.
Whether it's starting or coming off the bench, how do you adapt to those varying roles that you have?
You said adapt to what? Sorry.
Yeah, just the ability to adapt to varying roles, whether it's starting, coming off the bench. What makes that like not a problem for you? I guess I should say, like, it doesn't matter if you start or come off the bench. Like your ability to adapt to varying roles with this team.
I mean, it is a fair question. Like seeing how the team did last year, and then me being hurt, and it's like, what would we change it? What would you change the way it went if it went great? But I'm not even looking to things gonna happen the way it's supposed to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I'm going to my third year. Like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to help my team win. But at the same time, it's like I know exactly who I am as a player and what I can bring to the team. So I'm definitely trying to not put my focus on that and go into training camp with a good spirit.
Do you feel like, the Pacers almost have like two starting fives almost between of just how good their second unit was compared to other teams? Because we saw that in the playoffs that it's like no one could run as deep as the Indiana Pacers. And I feel like, when you add you back to that mix, and you also talk about other guys like McConnell and just, what Obi Toppin was bringing and how, players that were going in and out of the starting lineup, it just feels like you almost have two starting lineups and how that's an incredible advantage, for the Pacers.
For sure. We definitely have a lot of guys. The thing with our team is we have a large a group of guys who can play and be starters in the league, right? So having guys like TJ McConnell who brings a different thing that Tyrese Halliburton and Drew, and having Obi Toppin, coming off the bench and bringing the energy, running and everything, it's just really a big advantage that we have, just to be able to go out there and when the first lineup is exhausted, to have a fresh set of players going to the game and bring that positive energy.
From a personal perspective, and I guess a team perspective too, what areas do you want to improve next season?
For me, I said it earlier. I believe I can be one of the best, the best two-way player in the NBA. So I know exactly what it takes to be that, and I'm also willing to do it. You know, like I said, y'all know me as a competitive guy, but like, to what extent can I bring it? Can I show it to y'all? You know, can I be that guy defensively? I want to take that matchup every night. I want to be the guy where you need a bucket. You're like, yo, you know, we want Ben to get a bucket. We want to get a stop. Like, we want Ben to get a stop for us. So, it's really that mindset I'm coming to the season, and I'm just really, really excited. I don't want to say too much. You know, I just want to show y'all what I've been working and doing this off season.
I think everybody's excited to see you back out there. There was always that part of us that no matter what was going on in the playoffs, we always just felt like, yeah, but this team could be so much better with a healthy Mathurin out there. So I think we're really excited about that. But give us like that early glimpse on what's this rookie class kind of been like for you, and what's your early thoughts on the Pacers draft picks this year?
You go about this year?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, to be honest though, we have a really, really good set of rookies. You know, and you know, we have Furphy, who's super, super young, but you can see that he's really talented and he has a lot of potential. You know, Newton, like, this guy he's a winner. You know, he's been to school for a minute. He's won championships, and it's what he brings to the team. Enrique, this is just a hard worker. You know, he comes to the team, gets rebounds, he has energy, and he's just a great guy. He's just a great guy to be around. So just having, those rookies around the team is definitely a good thing. And I remember me being a rookie, having all those vets telling me what to do and everything. So now it's gonna be my turn. So I'm excited for that.
I'm excited too, and I want to get to a little bit more of a fun conversation here. We've seen how much you love to bake. We've heard stories. We had Chad Buchanan on our podcast talked about how you made him M&M and chocolate chip cookies for the plane ride. And I know Tyrese talked about you made some banana bread recently for him that he gave an 8 out of 10. So I'm just curious. Talk to me a little bit more about your baking. What kind of inspires you to be a baker, and maybe share some of your like favorite things you've made the last season.
Um, to be honest, I started baking because I was bored. Uh, it was beautiful to see though, to see how, when you bake, you really have to be precise with ingredients. I started with a cooking recipe, like a cookie recipe, and then it was like, maybe if I do this instead of this, the outcome gonna be different. What if I put less butter and more of this? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was great to really see this, and then I started like bringing stuff. To be honest, I just brought it because I had extra stuff at the house, and then I was like, maybe I should bring it to the staff. And then I made the staff try it, and then they was like, oh, it's pretty good. So then I was like, you know what? Maybe it could be a way I can bring something to the team. Just on the plane, I'll bring cupcakes and cookies and stuff like that. And then I seen that my teammates were enjoying it, so I just started doing it.
I love it. I mean, I think the fan base loves, how invested you've gotten in baking, but also how good you've gotten at it. And I think that's really exciting. Now, outside of baking, and obviously you've had, rehab going on, is there any other hobbies or interests, that maybe we might not be aware of? Anything you're keeping busy with?
Um, I like to do anything, to be honest. I so when my friends be coming over, I just be trying new stuff and just want to be, just want to win. So like, I don't know, I just uh started playing the piano, I would say. And
Wow.
I'm not too bad at it. I'm not the best, but I'm definitely, improving or learning new languages and stuff like that. Duolingo is my thing right now, so
And I
just
think
trying
last time you
to-
were on our show, you speak at least 5 languages, right?
Four. I speak four.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
Still a lot more than most people, but you're saying now you're learning more languages. I think
I'm
that's
trying,
really
yeah, for sure.
love it.
Yeah.
I got to know more about this piano, because we know Rick Carlisle plays piano. I'd love to see a piano duel between Rick and Bennedict. I think that'd be pretty fun. But I do want to go to Orlando. Just a few weeks ago, you guys had your team meeting there. Had a lot of fun competition. There was a great video content that Pascal was putting out. So can you
You
talk to
talking
us
about that
about?
dunk? I know you talking about that dunk.
Oh,
Yo,
I posted it for you just so you know. I didn't see you like that one, but maybe you did. I didn't see it, but the dunk on Miles was pretty nice. But have to ask you just about that time in Orlando, and then the fun stuff. You guys went to a WWE event with Tyrese Halliburton. What was that like as well?
Yeah, it was great to have, the whole team in Orlando going to Pascal's and just hooping and being and just competing for a whole week and playing 5-on-5, spending time with each other, team bonding and everything. So, I mean, it was amazing. It was really fun, to be honest, and I feel like we did it last year, and that's what allowed the team to really stick together. There are teams where, when they're just really, really talented, but when things go bad, they don't know how to bond with each other. And we're a young team. We have, disadvantage, and it was fun.
What's the biggest difference in the mentality of this Pacers team right now? We're recording this compared to a year ago, given everything that you went through, all the ups and downs, the experience, like just how is everyone thinking differently this time around than last year?
Last year we had I feel like I don't want to say it like that. We weren't allowed to lose 2 games, 3 games in a row. It was kind of like, okay, we have to pick it up. I just feel like the mentality is serious. Like we're not allowed to lose 2 games in a row. We lose 1 game, just it's behind. Just got to focus on the next game and just winning as many games as we can. We're not allowed to do as many mistakes because we know that we have a higher standard. We know what it's like. We have a taste. We have the taste of the pie. Now we want the whole thing. So.
Last one for me here, Ben. I know it's, not always fun to look at what other teams do and stuff like that and focus on that. But when you look at the rest of the landscape here of the Eastern Conference, how do you feel like your team stacks up with the Pacers here versus the rest of the East? And do you guys have a goal to finish at a certain, seed in the Eastern Conference?
Nah, we don't really have we trying to be the best team in the East. In our head, going to training camp, just like in my head, I'm going to training camp. I'm going to training camp. I don't think nobody's better than me. It's just the same thing that as a team, we have to go and play in the East and be like, you know what? I don't think New York, Boston are better than us. We're the best team, and that's how we have to approach it to get to where we want to go. So it's pretty much the mindset that we have.
My last question for you, Ben, was there a moment before the injury that you were like, I'm cooking right now, I'm hitting my stride? Like, was there one moment where you could think back in the season that you're like, yep, from here on out, like, I'm feeling good?
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. It's crazy you mentioned that because right before I got hurt, I was actually like I was going up, and I was like, yo, this is a second half of the season. It's a whole different game, and his playoffs were coming. So it's like I had this like literally on a piece of paper and planned out. What I'm saying? Like you're going through those games, and then the playoffs. I love the playoffs. Like it's fun, it's competitive. So, but I don't feel like it went as it was planned, but it just also kind of like built the anger inside of me to be able to carry it into the next season.
Yeah, for sure. I will definitely say that I thought you were playing your best basketball before you got hurt. I thought you were really starting to grow on both ends of the floor. I mean, I know you guys lost. I think it was against the Raptors at home, but you were playing really good basketball, like the only offense in that game for the Pacers at that time. So I definitely feel like, this team's ceiling is so much higher with you healthy. And we've talked about it this offseason. I know the Pacers didn't make a lot of offseason acquisitions, but I said getting Mathurin healthy for the playoffs is pretty much equivalent to having a free agent signing. So we're looking forward to year 3 for you, Ben. We hope nothing but the best for you, and we want to thank you for your time. Is there anything you'd like to plug before we sign off here?
No, I just want to appreciate y'all, taking the time to invite me on y'all's podcast, and looking forward for many more, man.
Yeah. Anytime you want to come on, we're here for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We wish you the best of luck this season. It is comeback season. It is revenge season. Whatever you want to say, it's happening. And I think that the rest of the league is going to wake up. Those extra nationally televised games that I mentioned, just a better introduction to who is Bennedict Mathurin and this Indiana Pacers team. So thank you very much.
I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all want to say anything crazy? I'll make sure I have the screenshots on my phone, all right? I'm just messing.
No, I love that, man. We're here for it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Setting the pace, going to the top. Setting the pace, going to the top. This is your #1 podcast. Sweeping every team. We gon' need a